US President Donald Trump is in a fix. He's unable to wriggle out of the Iran war, with Tehran refusing to agree to a deal on his terms. And on the domestic front, the road to the midterms appears tougher than before, full of hurdles, also with the fallout of the Epstein files, and his approval ratings plunging to 36% now. Amid all of this, a weekend Trump is visiting China from May 13 to 15. And this also marks the first visit to China by a US president in more than 8 years. To begin with, Trump is set to meet his counterpart, Xi Jinping. This will be on Thursday morning, followed by a visit to UNESCO heritage site, Temple of Heaven, and a state banquet in the evening. And on Friday, the leaders will be meeting again for tea and lunch before Trump returns to Washington. So that's what the trip will be looking like. Trade, business will be featuring high on the agenda, of course. At least 16 top CEOs, including Elon Musk, Tim Cook, Boeing's leader, and General Electric's Larry Culp will also be a part of the Trump delegation. Amid the endeavor to boost bilateral ties, Taiwan also remains a major sticking point here. Although Trump paused weapons sales worth $11 billion to Taiwan, announced in December last year, he is set to raise this issue with Xi Jinping. Listen in.
Well, I'm going to have that discussion with President Xi. President Xi would like us not to, and I'll have that discussion. That's one of the many things I'll be talking about.
But Beijing has drawn a red line, opposing the U.S. bid to sell weapons to Taiwan. It also hit out at the Trump administration sanctions against 3 people and 9 companies for aiding Iran's shipment of oil to China.
During President Donald Trump's visit to China, the 2 heads of state will have an in-depth exchange of views on major issues concerning China-U.S. relations, as well as world peace and development. China's opposition to the U.S. sale of weapons to Taiwan is consistent and clear.
At this juncture, though, Iran is likely to dominate the talks. Being Iran's largest trading partner, which purchases roughly 90% of its crude oil, considering its high stakes in reopening the Strait of Hormuz, U.S. officials are reportedly pinning hopes on Beijing to put pressure on Iran to make concessions. And this also assumes significance at a time when the U.S. president stated that the ceasefire is on a massive life support. As per reports, some Trump aides reckon that he is seriously considering resumption of major combat operations. He also met with his national security team at the White House. Just hours before his departure, Trump also shared some images which reflect his state of mind, perhaps, on the Iran war. While one showed destruction of Iranian boats, another post shows drones being shot down by lasers. Tehran, though, remains unfazed. It issued a dire warning to U.S. In fact, the Iranian parliamentary spokesman hinted that the country could enrich uranium up to 90%, a level considered weapons grade, if the U.S. and Israel resume the war. So that's where Iran stands right now. And Trump's visit also holds significance from the economic perspective. Yuan is at its strongest level against the U.S. dollar in 3 years. Last year itself, Beijing played its trump card to counter Trump's tariff war by restricting rare earth exports, while the U.S. president initially threatened to levy 100% more tariffs on China. He announced a trade and economic deal with China in November 2025. And according to him, China promised to eliminate export controls on rare earth elements and other critical minerals, end its retaliation against U.S. semiconductor manufacturers, and resume purchase of soybeans. Now, it's also worth noting here that Trump's last visit to China in November 2017 played out in a very different way. He had completed over a year in office back then, so that was a different context. Business deals worth $250 billion were inked, including a $37 billion US sale of 300 Boeing aircraft to China. That's not all. Trump was given a rare private tour of the Forbidden City by Xi Jinping. Ahead of Trump's visit, residents of China shared mixed feelings. While some expressed hope of a new economic deal between the two sides, others perceived Trump's arrival as a sign of China's global clout.
The fact Trump is coming proves that we are powerful. Trump is a snobbish person who changes his face whenever he wants, so we should respond to his changes with constancy.
Now, the outcome of the Trump-Xi meeting is likely to have implications for India as well, especially in the current geopolitical scenario. Amid this, Prime Minister Modi's powerful message standing out, recalling how India bravely dealt with the sanctions imposed after the Pokhran nuclear tests in 1998. The Prime Minister asserted that no power in the world can make India bow under pressure. What if the fight against aging does not begin in a lab, but inside your kitchen? Scientists now believe a few simple food habits, including taking olive oil, coffee, and smarter eating choices, could help people live longer and stay healthier for years. And the biggest surprise, perhaps, is how small everyday changes could quietly reshape the future of aging itself. Take a look.
Humanity has spent billions chasing immortality through pills and plastic surgery. We obsess over high-tech biohacks, while our bodies slowly succumb to the silent wear and tear of inflammation. The clock is always ticking. But what if the most powerful weapon against the mirror isn't a chemical? What if it is a simple biological intervention hidden in plain sight? Scientists studying aging and long-term health are increasingly finding that small dietary changes may have a powerful impact on how the body ages over time. And two ordinary items are now attracting serious attention: olive oil and coffee. According to a recent research, olive oil appears linked to lower risks of heart disease, inflammation, and cognitive decline. Rich in healthy fats and antioxidants, it may help protect blood vessels and reduce damage caused by aging at the cellular level. Coffee is also undergoing a major scientific reassessment. Once viewed with caution, moderate coffee consumption is now associated in several studies with improved brain health, reduced risk of certain diseases, and potentially slower biological aging. Researchers believe compounds inside coffee may help fight oxidative stress, one of the major drivers of aging inside the body. But experts say the real story is bigger than two ingredients. Science increasingly supports a broader pattern called smart eating. Less processed food, more vegetables, better fats, balanced portions, fewer sugar spikes, small, sustainable habits instead of extreme diets. By prioritizing these smart fats and natural brews, we can lower the risk of chronic illness and keep the mind sharp well into the twilight years. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
What happens when people stop questioning machines and start trusting them emotionally more than they should? A new study warns that AI chatbots may not just be spreading misinformation, they may actually strengthen false beliefs, distort memories perhaps, and deepen dangerous delusions, especially among vulnerable users. Researchers from the University of Exeter warning conversational AI systems are becoming more than just digital tools. They're acting like companions that agree with the users, validate their emotions, and build on personal narratives, even when those narratives are false or harmful. The study warning that repeated interactions with AI can slowly blur the line between reality and imagination. Unlike search engines or notebooks, researchers say chatbots respond in human-like conversations. That emotional connection they want makes users feel understood and supported, and instead makes conspiracy theories and distorted memories or even paranoid beliefs feel more believable. Researchers say this problem becomes even more dangerous because AI systems are designed to be agreeable and constantly available. Instead of challenging troubling thoughts, chatbots, they say, may continue reinforcing users during long conversations. And in some reported cases, researchers describe the phenomenon as AI-induced psychosis. The study also raises concern for people who feel that they are socially isolated or emotionally vulnerable. And many such users, according to researchers, turn to AI companions for comfort because they feel safer and less judged when it comes to these kind of interactions as compared to human relationships in some cases. And researchers warn that this emotional dependence could allow false beliefs to grow unchecked. And they are now calling for stronger safeguards, including better fact-checking systems and AI responses that challenge harmful or inaccurate claims instead of automatically validating them. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.